how you can find the center of a rotation and the angle of a rotation. In this case, where we've actually got all of the pieces that are there in our rotation problem, and then what we can do to actually solve them. Don't let that fool you. Class is still going on. So in order to let me prove to you that I have a rotation here, I've created quadrilateral GPLB, and I've actually used tracing paper to rotate that to a new location. And so what we're going to do in this video is find the center of the rotation and then measure how much the rotation is. And so you could do the same thing, create your shape, use tracing paper to move that shape through a rotation to a new location. Or you can ask me to create one for you. It's however you want to handle it. Page 135 has some really good problems that you could use to practice. Now, to set this one up, to do this, we're going to draw a line from one corner of the shape to its matching corner on the other side. So I'm going to draw ... along this line right here. I figure L to L prime just because it's kind of in the middle. And then yeah, we're going to do this twice. We need to do two of what I'm showing you right now. So I'm going to go L to L prime, and then I'm going to go B to B prime. Now, this is the point. I'm going to use the tracing paper to trace the corners, and then probably bring in the protractor just for the sake of niceness. But really what I'm going to try to do is recreate this line that's going to go from L to L prime. And then I'm going to fold the tracing paper in half. And so if you have to look through it at like a light, you really want to make the dots of L and L prime line up. And so you can see in the video here, sometimes if you slide it a little bit and it's off, that's bad. You want to make the two dots from L to L prime line up perfectly, and then give a super sharp crease on the tracing paper resource. Open it back up. That crease is going to represent what's called the perpendicular bisector. It's perpendicular because the crease, the angle that we create with the crease, is 90 degrees to the original line. And so I'm just tracing my pencil in that crease because I need to put this onto the actual document. Flip it over so that now the pencil mark is pushed down onto the paper, and we're going to redraw over the crease. Again, I've traced one side of the crease, that line where the paper was folded in half, that's the crease. And now I'm going to flip it over, line up my points, L and L prime, and then trace the crease onto the paper. Now I'm doing this so that it's actually going to leave a line on the paper. That line is the perpendicular bisector between two matching points. In fact, it's so important, it deserves its own marking on the paper. I'm going to use red for that marking. You have to do this twice. So maybe, how about G to G prime? Back to the pencil. Gonna trace a line from G to G prime. You could pick any 2 points. I just happen to pick these two. Now with the tracing paper, I got a fresh one for you, but you can certainly reuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Trace G prime. I'm gonna use the edge of the protractor just for niceness, but you don't necessarily have to. The point is, once you trace G and G prime on the tracing paper, then you're gonna fold so that the two dots, G and G prime, folded on the tracing paper are together and make a sharp crease. Man, if you don't know how to fold a paper airplane, that's what I'm doing, is folding it so that the dots line up, open it back up, and now the crease that's drawn here is the perpendicular bisector between G and G prime. So a little bit of tracey trace to put graphite along the line. And if I flip it, now the graphite's facing face down, and I can trace the graphite crease on the other side, and it's going to leave an impression on my paper. And so that impression, clean it up. Let's use a different color here for the sake of helping the visual aid of the video. Tracing along that pencil mark that's there, I've now created two perpendicular bisectors. But where the perpendicular bisectors cross, that's the center of the rotation. Let me prove it to you. Here's my original tracing paper. So I'm going to put the paper, line it up. I'm going to actually trace the center of rotation, and now I'm going to rotate so that my trace, I just created this dot right here with you right now. I'm going to rotate it so that it lines up. And I might be a little off. I might be perfectly on. It's human error off, but this is what you do to find the center of rotation. Now, the final part, the setup. You want to find, label. This is point E, right? We should put a center of rotation label. There it is. E is the center of rotation. Now, to find the angle of rotation, I'm going to draw a ray from E out through one of the letters. It just so happens to be G. And then I'm going to take E and I'm going to draw from E through G. Don't worry about the blue or the red lines, the perpendicular bisectors. They don't matter for this step. This step is about finding the angle of rotation. I'm going to use my protractor now to draw this ray, EG, and draw this ray, EG prime, and I'm going to measure, so that I have, my brain, my math brain makes me feel super proud of myself. From G to G prime, using the arrows that I just created, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, it's exactly 100. I don't even know how I did that. Honestly, I was trying to be like off. That's a 100-degree angle between G and G prime. So therefore, the name of this rotation, man, it's so impressive and important. It deserves pen. We're going to rotate about point E by 100 degrees. It's clockwise. So therefore, negative, because, left hand fingers curling is a negative rotation. We're going to rotate GPLB to G prime, P prime, L prime, B prime. There you have it. That is it. Rewatch the video if you need to. Pause, stop, follow along the way. Ask me for some help. But in case I can't give you that immediate support and I'm there for you this way, I hope it helps. This is the entire picture of a rotation where we found the center of rotation and the angle of rotation using perpendicular bisectors and using the measuring on an angle. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.